The date, September 16, 1620. The place, Plymouth, England. The occasion, the Pilgrims set sail for the New World. It had been a long journey with many twists and turns to get to this day. Unlike the Puritans who sought to reform and purify the Church of England, the Pilgrims believed that the Church's resistance to reform and its Roman Catholic past left it beyond redemption. So in 1608, committed to advancing the Christian faith and sharing the gospel with others, Pilgrim families began leaving England for the city of Leiden, Netherlands, where they could worship freely. But by 1617, the congregation had begun making plans to relocate to the New World, and then, in 1619, made the formal decision to share the gospel through a colony in America. Their pastor, John Robinson, who had first proposed the idea of emigrating to America, chose to remain in Leiden to care for those who could not make the voyage. The Pilgrims had originally hoped to reach America by early October 1620, traveling on two ships, Speedwell, on which they began their journey from Holland in late July, and Mayflower, that would be waiting for them in Southampton, England. But in August, multiple leaks and ineffective repairs on the Speedwell forced them to turn around about 200 miles after leaving Southampton and return to England, arriving in Plymouth. They had no choice but to abandon Speedwell and send some of its passengers back to Holland. One of their leaders, William Bradford, was especially worried. "We lie here waiting for as fair a wind as can blow," he wrote. "Our victuals will be half eaten up, I think, before we go from the coast of England, and if our voyage lasts long, we shall not have a month's victuals when we come in the country." At about 180 tons, Mayflower was considered a smaller cargo ship, having traveled mainly between England and Bordeaux with clothing and wine, not an ocean ship. She was a high-built craft, forward and aft, measuring approximately 100 feet in length and about 25 feet at her widest point. The ship's cargo included tools, food, and weapons, as well as some live animals, including dogs, sheep, goats, and poultry. There were two small boats powered by oars or sails, and some artillery pieces for protection in the New World. The living quarters were cramped, about 20 by 80 feet, with the ceiling about 5 feet high. With couples and children packed closely together for a trip that would last 2 months, it would be a difficult journey. But now, on the morning of September 16, with what Bradford called a prosperous wind blowing, 102 pilgrims stood on the deck of the overcrowded Mayflower, joined by a crew of 25 to 30 men. As they sailed out of Plymouth and west into the Atlantic Ocean and the New World beyond, they were armed with high hopes and an abiding faith, beginning a journey that would change both their lives and the course of human history.